Welcome students to the English Literature Poetry class part 2. In the previous video we studied about the poem Darkling Thrush by Thomas Hardy. Okay, and just let us take a quick recap of it. What was there in the poem? That the Darkling Thrush is a meditative poem by Thomas Hardy in which he describes the dying of the old world at the turn of the century. He talks about the end of the 19th century and beginning of the 20th century. Okay. Now, because of the Industrial Revolution and the changes brought about by it in society, polity, economic, and religious beliefs, the poet feels that all has changed, civilization has decayed, and he does not know what will replace it. So, he is deeply depressed by this state of affairs. He hears a thrush singing joyfully, which baffles him to think about the cause that makes the bird so happy in such a gloomy atmosphere. The bird singing has a hope which the poet does not have when he longs for it. So in the previous video we studied about the first paragraph, and now we are going to study about the second paragraph. In the first and the second paragraph, the poet gives the description of a dreary and bleak winter landscape, and that is the end of the day there. Now in the second stanza, what happens is the land's sharp features seemed to be the century's corpse outlined, his script the cloudy canopy, the wind its death lament, the ancient pulse of germ and birth was shrunken hard and dry, and every spirit upon earth seemed fervorless as I. Now, in this paragraph, what happens? Things go from dull and depressing to outright dismal. That is total death of hope. Now, the poet talks about the land's sharp features. What he says in the second paragraph, that the speaker's perception of the gloomy wintry landscape in a series of metaphor associated with death. See, the first metaphor here. What is the first metaphor? The century's corpse. C is capital. Corpse is what? Corpse is dead body. Century's death. That is the death of the 19th century. Now, the first metaphor refers to the sharp outlines of the winter's landscape, which appear to the speaker like the sharp features of a corpse. And that is, what is that corpse? Corpse of the dying 19th century. Not only this, let's see the third line. The cloudy sky seems like the century's tomb, that it is covering the dead body, and the wind which is blowing, it's a winter wind which is blowing, it appears to be the death song for the speaker. Now the lines number 13 and 14, what does he say that? He says that line number, the ancient pulse of germ and birth was shrunken hard and dry. So what he means to say, the very process of nature are at a standstill. What is the process of a nature? The nature gives birth to something and then it grows. But here what has happened? The germ, the seed which gives birth to something, that has also got shrunk, become hard and dry. That means what? What does it symbolize? It symbolizes that the life forming elements have shrunk and they are lost. So what is this? In the last two lines, now in the last two lines of this stanza, and every spirit here refers to every man, human being, everyone on the planet earth have become as fervorless. It appears, seem means appear, it appears that they all have become fervorless. Fervorless means lacking in passion and intensity, and as the speaker himself. It seems that the speaker is not just hinting at the death of the old century, but the death of the pearls of life that vitalizes and energizes him and other people. So what does we conclude? That is the death of hope for the speaker. Now, what happens when such atmosphere is there? The speaker is thinking all such things. Immediately he hears a song, a sound of a song, and that too he looks around and he finds that a bird, a thrush is there who is singing a song, and he gets surprised that, and the atmosphere from desolation to hope changes in the third stanza. So what it is that, what is there in the third stanza? If you see on your screen, at once a voice arose among the bleak twigs overhead in a full-hearted even song of joy illimited. An aged thrush, frail, gaunt and small, in blast beruffled plume, had chosen thus to fling his soul upon the growing gloom. So what does the poet says? That he says that the song which he hears, that song is not of lament, rather that song is filled with unlimited joy. Okay, and when he looks around, he finds a thrush singing that song. Okay, and he looks at the bird and thinks that this bird condition is that bird is such an aged one, aged thrush, frail, weak, gaunt and small. Okay, and having what type of a feathers? Plume is feathers. What type of a feather? Disordered feather. And he gets surprised and he says that such a here at the contrast is being used. Song is joyous and the condition of the bird is old, weak, thin and disordered feathers, singing such a joyful song. So this is called a contrast here. And what type of a song the bird is singing? Even song. Even song means the evening song, the evening prayer sung at the church. So what he says now, son, it is significant here that both for an aged bird, because it is the last day of the century, and yet the bird is flinging his soul. Flinging his soul means singing ecstatically with unlimited joy, happiness, energy. And this song makes him think that when everything is gloomy all around, the bird is singing such a song. So this growing gloom, what does it suggest? It suggests that hope as well as desperation. Now, why does the speaker introduces this? What does it refers to? What is a cross reference here? The cross reference is that it is an indirect reference to Christ's suffering and death on the cross. Okay, followed by his resurrection from the dead, bringing hope to mankind. So first two paragraphs, you see students, what image does it form in our mind? That we can say that the atmosphere is gloomy, so we can say that that is the Christ's suffering and death on the cross. Okay, but when he again rose after death, okay, so that is called his resurrection from the dead. So that means that brought hope to the mankind. So the song can be considered as a hope to mankind. So if you see here on the screen, the speaker fails to understand why the frail bird had chosen the desolate land, lonely land, to fling his soul, to sing so ecstatically upon this darkening evening, the end of the day, the end of the century. Okay, now we move to the last stanza of the poem. In this stanza, what happens? The speaker himself is filled with sense of life and hope, which is brought by the bird song. So little cause for carolings. There is very little. So the poet is thinking, trying to understand. So he says that although looking at the atmosphere, there is very little reason for singing carolings. Carolings are the what? Carolings are the songs which are sung at the on the Christmas day. Okay, so this also shows that towards the end of the century, 25th December, okay, of such ecstatic sound was written on terrestrial things. So what the poet starts thinking here, that there is no good reason, although there is no good reason for the bird to sing here, but why? Because the speaker feels that the world is a dead place. And why such a happy song is sung by the bird? So he wants the bird to match its tone and pitch to its surroundings. So what does he says? No one knows what inspires the darkling thrust singing such carols. Okay, now so he is not able to understand, he is not able to comprehend what terrestrial thing could make the bird so happy. What is that earthly thing? Terrestrial thing is, what is that worldly pleasure or the earthly pleasure the bird is getting that is making the bird to sing such carols? Okay, so he looks around, afar or nigh around, since although there is nothing nearby or far away, anything which could make her sing like this. So he cannot, because the speaker cannot experience it himself. So but here what he says, that I could think there trembled through his happy good night air, means that he is not, since the poet is not able to experience it as himself, so the speaker cannot recognize the joy in the bird's song. However, if you see here, the capitalization of hope is there, blessed, and that too blessed, the word blessed and the capitalization of the hope, H capital. What does it suggest? It suggests that there might be, the poet's thinking is there, that there might be what? There might be some religious or spiritual reasons for the bird's joyful singing. So here evening song refers to what? Evening prayers. That means evening prayers means related to the religious ceremonies in the church. Second thing, we can say the carolings. Carolings are the reminiscent of Christmas carols. They remind us of Christmas carols. Third thing, you see hope, H capital. And this hope being H capital means that what? It is one of the three Christian values or the virtues. What are those three virtues, Christian virtues? Faith, hope and charity. Or charity we can say that as love also. towards. So that's why H is capital here. That means hope is being personified. Personified means this world has been given the qualities of a human being. That means giving hope to mankind. So what is the indirect reference here? So indirect reference here is to Jesus Christ. Again I repeat, see the evening song, the evening prayer sung at the church, second, and then the evening carolings here. Carolings are the remindings of the Christmas carols being sung at church. Third thing you see, blessed hope, H capital, that is being personified, giving hope to mankind. So that means what is the indirect reference here? Indirect reference to Jesus Christ here. Although the speaker acknowledges his inability to understand the cause of the bird's joyful singing, but it fills him with the feeling that there may be some cause for it, whether religious or spiritual or something else, and that in future he might come to know that cause. And I was unaware, see the last line, and I was unaware. That means this shows what the poet has no straight answers. He is unaware. He expresses his inability to understand what is the joy in the bird's song, but still he hopes that in future or that in time he might come to know that cause. So students, you look at your screen there, what we can say that what thoughts are coming in the speaker's mind. There are no straight answers for the poet. So he thinks that the thrush may be singing a song of farewell. Or what is the song of farewell? When you show your gratitude towards the good thing that you have got earlier. Or second thing, that the bird may be singing a song of hope. Okay, what is hope? What does hope gives you? A reassurance of good things that are to come. This thing fits for all of us right now. We all are suffering due to that pandemic COVID-19. Okay, so we can have only in our minds just keep a hope. So that means rather than having negative thoughts in our mind, we can think that good things may definitely come to us. Okay, so to conclude, we can say that like the poet, we can only wonder, but side by side keep our hearts open and just be glad or happy that there is a reason to be happy at all. Okay, now we come to the themes of the poem. We can say that nature, man versus nature. Another we can take as perseverance, or we can take that search for meaning in life. So nature, you see, in Thomas Hardy's poem, nature is governed by the cycle of life and death and is largely indifferent to human needs or desire. This thing is very clear in Darkling Thrush. This poem is all about the death of hope in the 19th century for having lost faith in God and nature. People could place faith in no other benevolent force. So Hardy has depicted this through a barren landscape on a depressing wintry evening. Perseverance means that without worrying about the future or what will be the result of your efforts or your work, you should keep on trying, keep on working. Okay, and side by side keeping a hope, something good will definitely come. Okay, now third we can take that search for meaning. See in the poem, search for meaning. The third one can be the search for meaning. The speaker's despair in the poem echoes Hardy's own search for meaning in the world, where he finds no hope for humanity's future. He has given the details in the poem of the dying old world, but cannot replace the dying with the new one. He thinks that the old civilization has decayed and he finds nothing to replace it. So, isolated from those who have sought their household fires. That means the people have gone inside and sitting nearby the fires. So, and then the speaker sees a death haunted landscape and a growing gloom. See the atmosphere. Hardy himself mourned, cried the passing of agricultural society and so little cause to celebrate England's rapid industrialization, which helped destroy the customs and traditions of rural life. So, what we can say that the speaker's attachment to the past has been severed and he cannot find meaning in the present. What is that present? At the dawn or the beginning of a new century. But the thrush song, though full of hope and joy, offers little in the way of meaning. So, what we can say that any meaning that a new beginning might bring with it is nowhere to be found, neither in the landscape nor in the speaker's heart. Is it clear? Now, let us take a recap of the poem to remember it in a simple words. First, what is there? A dreary and dismal winter day. Then the grey and grimy rainfall or around snowfall. The vegetation around symbolic of death and destruction. No growth is there, no life cycle is there. Then the vine looked like the broken strings of lyre, simile used here. Then the features on land matched with the corpses, the dead bodies. Then image of isolation, everything, no one is outside, no human being to be seen, all have taken shelter in their warm houses near to the fire. Then the poet further describes, he says that the cloudy canopy looks like the tomb for the world. Then the lamentation, the winter wind which is blowing, it's a funeral song. All things around seemed to be shattered and disillusioned. Now, in such a atmosphere, dreary atmosphere, that is out of the pall of gloom, the speaker hears a evening song, and he looks around and he sees a thrush, and he sees that that thrush is a frail, old and tiny bird. Then, but certain thoughts are there in his mind, but the thrush song symbolizes hope for the next century. Okay. Students, please make the notes and go through the video again and again. Okay. Now, for your queries, you can WhatsApp me up. Thank you for listening. But what does the message this poem gives you? Be positive always. There will something good that would follow, that would come. Or we can say the message of the poem again, once again I repeat, if it is winter, can spring be far behind? Thank you for your homework. Check your portal.